Hi class, this is Mr. Trez, and in this video we are going to be connecting standard form to slope-intercept form and rewriting equations in standard form into slope-intercept form and then graphing those equations. So just as a review, standard form is an equation written in the form of ax plus by equals c, and slope-intercept form is an equation written in the form of y equals mx plus b. Now, both of these equations have one important thing in common, and that is that they are both linear, which means on a graph, they will both form a straight line. Now, one other important definition is what's called the coefficient. And the coefficient is a number that multiplies a variable. And this is important for this lesson because when we rewrite an equation in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, we want to really be focused in on the coefficient of y. So what is this number that we are multiplying by the variable y? Well, there is an invisible 1. If we don't see a number, there is an invisible 1 there. So the coefficient of y is equal to positive 1. And that's the key. We want this equation to be written as y equals mx plus b, where the y value is positive 1. So let's take a look at our first example. So here we have an equation, x plus y equals 7, and as we can see, this is written in standard form. So what we want to do is rewrite it in slope-intercept form. So what we want to use is our inverse operations. So we want to get the positive y isolated or alone. So right now there is a positive x next to it. So we want to think opposite. We're going to subtract x to both sides of our equation, and now we have positive y. So that's what we want. So we have positive 1y, and now we just want to rewrite this in slope-intercept form. So we want to get this a little bit more organized. We're going to put the slope first, which is negative x, and then the 7, which is positive, plus 7. And now we have our equation written in slope-intercept form. So the reason why we want to take these equations in standard form and write them into an equivalent equation, but written in slope-intercept form, is just because it's a lot easier to graph an equation in slope-intercept form. Because we're given a y-intercept, which in this case is positive 7, and we could put a point on positive 7. And we also have the slope, which is negative 1, and this is going to help us find the other point. So since our slope is negative 1, that means we're going to go down 1 to the right. We could do it again, down 1 to the right. And since it's negative, instead of going down to the right, we can also go up and to the left, up and to the left. And as we can see, our points form a line. We can see our line is going to be sloping downhill, which means it's negative. And now we just want to connect our points to draw a big explosive line. Small arrows at the end. And we're able to graph this equation. So now this graph is both the equation to y equals negative x plus 7 and x plus y equals 7. Okay, because these two equations are equivalent. It's the same thing, we just rewrote it. Next, let's take a look at our next example. So now we have an equation in standard form, negative x plus y equals 7, and we want to rewrite it in slope-intercept form. So again, we want to get the y value alone. We want to get it isolated. So we're going to use our inverse operations. We're going to add positive x to both sides. And again, inverse, we want to think opposite. If it's negative x, the opposite is positive x. And now let's rewrite our equation a little bit more neater and organized. So we have positive 1y, so this is what we want, is equal to, and let's put the slope first, so positive 1x plus positive 7. And now again, we can take our equation in slope-intercept form and we can graph it. So we're going to start with our y-intercept, which is again is positive 7. And now our slope is positive 1, so that means we're going to have all positive moves. So we're going to rise and go to the right, rise 1 to the right 1, And we can also go down and to the left. Down is a negative move, to the left is a negative move. And remember, slope is a fraction, 1 over 1, and every fraction means division, so a negative and a negative equal a positive when dividing. Again, we want a big explosive line. And here is our graph of y equals 1x plus 7. And it's also the graph of negative x plus 1y equals 7. Because again, these are equivalent to each other. We just rewrote it. Okay, our next example is 4x minus y equals 3. So let's rewrite this in slope-intercept form, because this is in our standard form. We're going to subtract 4x to both sides. Okay, and now let's bring down, so as we can see, we always want to look at the sign in front of the number. That gives us negative y equals negative 4x plus 3. Okay, the 3 is positive. Then we have negative 4x, so that's our negatives. We want to make sure we have the right signs. Now this question is a little bit different than the other in that our coefficient of y is really negative 1. Well, we don't want this to be negative 1. We always want this coefficient of y to be positive 1. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to divide the left side by negative 1, and a negative 1 divided by negative 1 equals positive 1y, and that's what we want. But what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So we're going to divide both of these terms on the right side of the equation by negative 1 as well. And now we're going to do our operation. So negative 4x divided by negative 1, a negative divided by a negative equals a positive. And then positive 3 divided by negative 1, positive divided by a negative equal a negative. And we could put the negative sign right in the answer. Or, okay, you can also do, instead of minus a positive, you can add a negative. So either way is correct. So now we always want to double check. We want to make sure our y value is positive 1, which it is. And now we want to graph this. So let's start with our y-intercept, which in this case is negative 3. So we're going to go to the y-axis and put a point on 0, negative 3. And now let's look at our slope, which is 4x. So again, slope is our number. Okay, anytime we have a whole number, we want to write it as a fraction. So 4 over 1. It's positive, so let's rise 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Run 1. Let's get another point. 1, 2, 3, 4. Run 1. We can, instead of going up and to the right, we could go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the left. And as we can see, our points form a nice linear relationship. Let's draw a big explosive line. And here is our graph. So again, this graph is for the equation y equals 4x minus 3, y equals 4x plus negative 3, and it's also 4x minus y equals 3, also the standard form of our equation. Okay, let's take a look at our last example. And here we have an equation in standard form of 4x minus 2y equals 12. So again, we want to get the y isolated and alone. So instead of positive 4x, we're going to subtract 4x to both sides. Now let's look carefully. This is negative 2y equals, let's write it in slope-intercept form, negative 4x plus 12. And now we can see in this equation that our coefficient of y is negative 2. So we don't want this to be negative 2, we want it to be positive 1. So we're going to divide it by that coefficient of negative 2. And negative 2 divided by negative 2 equals positive 1y, and that's what we want. But what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So we're going to divide the other terms by negative 2. Negative 4x divided by negative 2, negative divided by negative equals a positive 2x. Then positive 12 divided by negative 2, positive divided by negative equals a negative. And here we have our equation, y equals 2x minus 6, or we could say y equals 2x plus negative 6. And now we can graph it. And again, The reason why we want to do this is because it's a lot easier to graph an equation in slope-intercept form because we're given our y-intercept and we're given our slope. So that's really why we rewrite this. So let's graph our y-intercept first, which is -6. We have a positive slope of 2x, so we're going to rise 2, run 1. Rise 2 spaces, run 1. And let's do one more. Rise 2, run 1. Now we can also go down and to the left, down and to the left, and we could see our equation is going uphill. Our line is going uphill. And our equation, since it has a positive slope, our line's going to have a positive slope. And this is the equation to y equals 2x minus 6, and also 4x minus 2y equals 12, as these two equations are equivalent. Thank you for watching this video.